Sean right here with Lloyd Dollar Bill, getting ready for the Junior National Championships in Chicago, June the 19th. Lloyd, we just finished the muscle camp here in Tampa, Powerhouse Gym downtown. You helped out. Appreciate that. You're from Orlando, Florida? Or?
I'm living in Fort Myers right now.
Living out in Fort Myers. You're no stranger to the national scene, man. You've been trying to get that pro card for a while. You figured, why not go to the Junior Nationals in Chicago, which may be a prelude to going into the USA's in July. Tell me how you arrived at picking this Junior Nationals out.
Had a really good season last year. 6th at the North American, 7th at Nationals. It was recommended by a couple judges and promoters that they would like to see me do the juniors and see how I pan out. So we went to work, put together a better physique this year, coming up more to the upper part of the heavyweight class, and we're gonna see what we can get.
Well, I know John De La Rosa won the juniors. Some other junior nationals. I actually did the junior nationals way back in '86. Eddie Robinson won that competition. It's not going to be a walk in the park. That's still a good contest.
Yeah, I feel it's going to be definitely strong competition, but at the end of the day, I prepared myself to the point where I don't worry about any other competitors other than myself. I'll show up in shape.
Well, we're here doing it in the trenches. What are we going to see here? You're getting ready to start your workout. Take me through what we're about to see.
I'm going to go through an arm workout. It'll be pretty short, but high intensity. Pretty high rep range right now, trying to bring out more separation in the arms. It'll be probably bis and tries what we're going to go through. Probably go back and forth between a bi and a tri exercise. See how much detail we can bring out.
All right, well, let's talk a little bit more about you while we watch you go through this bi and tricep workout. You're coming off the North American Championships in September, almost a year ago. What adjustments have you made to try to make yourself put yourself in the front runner's position for this competition?
This year was a lot better. Last year, my heavy weight, I went up to like 270 pounds, which was ridiculous because I'm losing too much weight coming down. This year, I stayed lean year round. Put on some quality size, and I really couldn't see the size until I started dieting down, and I realized things didn't get any smaller. My condition just got better. So I think to really show on the stage this year the quality I put on.
So when you're training arms, take me through it. Where's your mind at? Are you visualizing some of the guys that came before you with a great pair of arms as you're doing bicep curls? Are you thinking of like Robbie Robinson and Boyarko with that big bicep peak, or like the Arnold Schwarzenegger thing? Or where is your mind when you're going through the workout?
I usually think about each pose that I'm gonna have to do on the stage. I'm flexing and I'm squeezing each pose, each rep as I'm doing a pose on the stage, so that way when I do hit the shot on stage, I don't have to put too much effort into it. Everything just kind of pops.
Are you a bodybuilder that believes in like high carbs or low carbs?
I believe moderate carbs, just enough carbs to not be overdoing it, just enough to keep the muscles full so I don't flatten out on too many days. And I just like to keep that fullness, but not overly full. How
much cardio are you doing when you're getting ready for a competition this big? I mean, it's only a couple of weeks away.
Only 30 minutes. I've only done 30 minutes, like I said, and that's due to me keeping my diet on point year round this year. 30 minutes has been really good and high intense, and I think I'll have the best conditioning that I've ever brought to the national stage.
Are you paying much attention to how much you weigh going into this contest, being that there is a weight limitation for the heavyweights?
Not at all. Last year, like I say, I was about 211 pounds. So I'm still quite a ways from the top. So this year, I didn't have to worry about it too much. I can just pretty much eat up, and I don't have to worry about just diet and focus on that and not worry about the scale, which I think helps give me a benefit because I don't have to worry about a particular weight and then my conditioning don't be where it's at. I just focus on my conditioning, and how hard I get and then how dry I get at the end. And I think, the few pounds that I put on will show dramatic difference.
Tell me a little bit about your rep and set scheme. I mean, you're doing biceps and triceps. What do you do for your arms?
Normally, my first set is my big set. My first set, I do what I call murder it. I try to leave nothing behind. I really kill it on the first set, and then everything falls after that is going to make it a really good workout. Mm-hmm. So, my rep range and my sets on the first exercise, it can vary, anywhere from 5 to 10 sets, sometimes 15 to 20 reps. Once that muscle gets really engorged with blood, I feel like I can't do no more, then I'll move on to the next exercise.
Tell me some of the guys that you admire that have a great pair of arms. I know when I was coming up in the game, Kevin Levrone he didn't have the great bicep peak, but man, his triceps were full, his arms were very thick. Flex Wheeler had a great double bicep pose in terms of his waist disappearing and the joints that he had. Who are you looking at on today's stage that represents that full arm look for you?
For today's stage, I would definitely say Kai Green has a nice bicep peak and separation, which herself had very good separation between the biceps and the triceps. And I'm not a very big bodybuilder, so I definitely strive for the aesthetics, and symmetry and shape. And so I like guys like, for example, Darren Charles. He had a really nice bicep peak on the stage. So I'm more about that nice peak, not necessarily just the full arm.
So your mindset going into competition, you do have to switch gears from the off-season to on-season. Tell me when that happens and where do you go with that, getting ready for the kill?
Normally about 20 weeks out, I start focusing in. 16 weeks out, things get a little more dialed in. 12 weeks out, it's all go.
Yeah. So is it a take no prisoners type of mentality, or are you just all about being the better Lloyd Dollar than you were the previous competition?
I'm pretty intense. As the weeks grow closer, I get even more intense. Right now, 2 weeks out, everything is, has always been perfect, but everything, there's no flaws. I'm very intense. I don't have time for nothing other than bodybuilding 2 weeks out. And everybody in my circle, I let them know, I'll give you all the attention I need, but 2 weeks out, everybody needs to leave me alone. It's time to go to war.
Yeah, you're pretty good at handling the placements that are handed down to you. How important is this competition to you in the grand scheme of what you've been doing? I mean, you're a top national competitor. The junior nationals, which some people might think is a step down, actually sounds like a step in the right direction for you to help give you some momentum. What is your goal to walk away from Chicago with?
I'm not going to accept anything but first. That's my mindset. I will be definitely in a shape and a conditioning where it should be warranted if I get first place, that the crowd would understand and be happy by it. I'm not training for second. I'm definitely not training for second, which I never go on any show training for second, but I feel real good this year.
This is Tony Racanelli. Now on this move right here, we're doing a lying inclined high pulley cable extension. Really, really nice move. When you use the rope, you really activate all those heads of the tricep muscle. The really nice thing about it is you get a full stretch all the way from the insertion to the origin of the middle head of the tricep. And then you know what? We're just going into a more traditional bicep curl. Now if you notice how he flexes, he squeezes, no shoulders into it. The elbows stay within a range of motion, no swinging, no jerking, very, very little upper body used in the movement. And really the only difference between when we're going heavy and now is the weight's heavier, but the form is always the same. Normally what we like to do an antagonistic muscle training principle. We go set of biceps, set of triceps, because we're 2 weeks out. It's about pumping, flushing, filling the muscle out. We're going to do a lot of flexing and a lot of squeezing. We're getting down to basically the 14-day count. Everything's about squeezing, working out those striations. As I like to call it, I call it finishing. Now this is a very nice move for the bicep. Now how Lloyd likes to do this, and I really like it, he sits and he moves the seat forward. So that way when you go into extension with the bicep, it's in a pre-stretch motion. When you do it standing and you're parallel with the upper pulleys, you lose some of that pre-stretch on the bicep. Plus you notice he doesn't move the elbows, keeps the peaks high, gives a slight pause to get maximum flexation. Key to the dumbbell kickbacks, bend over 90 degrees, hold those elbows up, hold those elbows up, hold those elbows up. That's pretty critical. Lloyd and I, first time I ever saw Lloyd was probably October of 2009. I saw him at the Mid-Florida doing a guest posing. That was probably about 6-7 weeks before the USA, which at that point Alvisi was really picked to win that one. And when I saw him come out and guest pose, he was about 218, and as you can see in the video, he has tremendous shape. And I thought, wow, this is the guy that could probably steal it. Then about 4 or 5 weeks later, I saw him at the Southern States, and he went from 218 to 198. And he didn't look quite as good as he did when I saw him at the Mid-Florida. Later on, he didn't go to the USA. Alvisi wins it. And then about 4 or 5 months later, I saw him again, and he was back full and round with all that shape. And I thought to myself at that point, if I ever got a chance to talk to this guy, I wanted to work with him. Well, maybe about 8 months goes by, and I run into him at the North America. You know, he was familiar with my face. I introduced myself to him. You know, he stripped down for me, let me take a look at him, and I told him good luck. And, you know, this sport's really, really tough. You can have a lot of years in, but for whatever the reason, he looked better on Saturday than he did on Friday night when he stepped on stage. So during the night show, I sat down and I talked to him. And basically, I said everything he was thinking. So we decided for 5 weeks we were going to give it a try, go from the 2010 North America into the 2010 Nationals, and we were going to see how we looked. Well, in 5 weeks, at that point, it was probably the best he had ever looked for the Nationals, where he got his highest placing, which was 7th. It fell short of our goal, but we did get the attention of a lot of judges. And really, basically, what they told him is that he needs to go to the juniors, put on a good show, and then move back up into a pro qualifier. Well, we felt like after 5 weeks, if we made the changes we did, what could we do in an off season? So really, the first thing that I needed to do was just organize this program. What I see with a lot of great athletes like Lloyd, they have components of their program that are in place, but they're not working synergistically together. The next thing is Lloyd doesn't really put on a lot of body fat in the off season, but he gets really heavy. So we wanted to put a cap on his weight. We decided 240 was the highest that he was going to get into the off season, because what was happening to him near the end, he wasn't getting dry. He was losing his fullness, and his legs did not resonate the level of definition that his upper body was. And his peak weight was 245, so we accomplished that goal. We started our prep about 20 weeks out, and really the biggest thing that I've really had to do with Lloyd is just manage his program, manage his carb rotations, be a reality check, figure out how much volume is enough volume, how much cardio is enough cardio. I had a pretty good sense of what I needed to do the last 8 weeks. It was just getting him to where we needed to be. Front double. Lat spread. Side chest. Rear double. Rear lat spread. Most muscular. Air out.
All right, we are headed to Chicago from Tampa, Florida in 2 short weeks with Lloyd Dollar trying to go after that junior national title and then gain some momentum and possibly wind up on stage in Las Vegas at the USA Championships in July. But we've got to take one thing at a time. Lloyd blasting through his arms here at Tampa Bay at the Muscle Camp. I'm Sean Ray, MuscularDevelopment.com.